4 people were killed and at least 25 others were injured in Kyiv after Russia launched a large-scale overnight missile and drone attack on Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities said notably the strike included ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and hundreds of drones targeting energy facilities and civilian infrastructure across multiple regions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia fired 13 ballistic missiles, 22 cruise missiles and 242 drones during the attack. He said one ballistic missile struck infrastructure near Lviv, roughly 60 kilometers from the Polish border, and reported damage to a building at the Qatar embassy. Notably, in Kyiv, the attack caused widespread destruction and fires across several districts. Power outages were reported in parts of the capital during what officials described as a particularly harsh winter period. The Obolon district saw significant damage, including apartment buildings, warehouses and dozens of vehicles set on fire. A residential building was hit with damage between the third and the fourth floors, while another 9-story building was struck and later hit again. In the Podil district, fires broke out in the both private homes and apartment buildings, and in the Pachursk, residential buildings were damaged and a church roof caught fire, with fire spreading over a large area. Well, in one area, multiple floors of a residential building burned after a direct hit, prompting evacuations that included children. And in another, a warehouse and critical infrastructure facility were damaged, whereas in another, residential and commercial buildings were hit, with people rescued from high-rise apartments amid fires and explosions. Additional damage and fires were reported in several other districts, including strikes on homes, educational facilities and infrastructure. Emergency services said that fires and destruction affected multiple parts of the city simultaneously, with rescuers evacuating civilians and treating the injured. Kyiv authorities reported that at least 20 people in the capital sought medical assistance, including a child, while other reports indicated higher casualty figures across the affected regions. Well, officials also said that Russian forces carried out a second strike during rescue operations in Kharkiv, killing 5 emergency workers and injuring several others as they responded to the earlier damage. Damage was also reported at the Kyiv Pachursk Lavra, a historic monastic complex and UNESCO World Heritage Site, where fires broke out and parts of the complex, including the Domitian Cathedral roof, were damaged. Religious leaders condemned the strike, calling it an attack on cultural and spiritual heritage. Russia's defense ministry described the attack as retaliation for a Ukrainian drone strike targeting Vladimir Putin's residence earlier in December. Russia also claimed the use of the Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile, while Ukrainian officials described the assault as a coordinated barrage involving ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and drone that is aimed at both military and civilian infrastructure. Notably, in a significant development, a large-scale overnight Russian missile and drone attack on Ukraine left at least 4 people dead and more than 25 injured in Kyiv, according to the Ukrainian authorities. The assault involved a coordinated barrage of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and hundreds of drones targeting energy infrastructure and civilian areas across multiple regions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia launched 13 ballistic missiles, 22 cruise missiles and 242 drones during the strike. He also reported that one missile hit infrastructure near Lviv, around 60 kilometers from the Polish border, and caused damage to a building that is linked to the Qatar embassy. Kyiv experienced widespread destruction, with fires breaking out in multiple districts and significant disruption to the power supplies during severe winter conditions. The Obolon district was heavily affected, with apartment buildings, warehouses and vehicles set ablaze. Several residential buildings across the city were struck, including high-rises that suffered multiple impacts and extensive internal fires. And in other districts such as Podil, Pachursk and various others, homes, infrastructure, schools, warehouses and commercial buildings were damaged or destroyed. Emergency services carried out evacuations, rescued trapped residents and treated the injured as fires spread across the capital. And at least 20 people in Kyiv sought medical assistance, including a child, though authorities warned that the total casualties across the affected regions may be higher. In Kharkiv, 5 emergency workers were killed and others injured when Russian forces reportedly launched a second strike while rescue operations were underway at an earlier hit site. Significant damage was also reported at the Kyiv Pechursk Lavra, a UNESCO World Heritage monastic complex where fires broke out and the roof of the Domitian Cathedral was damaged. Religious leaders condemned the attack as a serious blow to the cultural and spiritual heritage. Russia's defense ministry described the operation as retaliation for a Ukrainian drone strike targeting Vladimir Putin's residence earlier in December. It also claimed the use of the Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile, while Ukrainian officials characterized the attack as a coordinated assault involving multiple missile types and drones that is aimed at both the civilian and the critical infrastructure. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel.